Hello. Okay. So we scheduled to do this live. Rob here. Rob Hicks with Hicks Video. Awesome. Thank you for being here, Rob. He's behind the scenes. He produces out of Maryland. Um, so I'm talking back and forth with him today, and everything's good. Yeah, I'm ready to go. And then literally like 15 minutes ago, my computer just doesn't turn on. And I'm like, what? And so then I'm panicked and I'm trying to get another computer, but we don't know the password to it. So we're trying to get into the, and then the sound doesn't work. The computer is just, I'm a little, just pull it together. That's what I need to do. Just deep breaths. Okay. So thank you to Rob behind the scenes. Thank you to my husband who came out of nowhere trying to help me. Okay. So we're here, we're live, it's happening. This is real. This is real. Welcome to real world. Real world with conservative mama. Hey. Okay. So I hope you guys are doing well. Let me get on here and say hi to some of you. I hope you've had a good week. It's been an eventful week. We've had the whole there I am so loud. We've had the DNC convention. I don't know if you guys watched that. I did it for you. Okay. So I did it for you because I care about you guys. And it was interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about that. First, I wanted to talk and address, yesterday news broke, Kellyanne Conway. She's one of the chief counselors to the president. She's a rock star, helped push Donald Trump over the finish line in 2016 for the win. One of the first, I think she's the first female in history to lead a president to victory as a campaign manager. That was her role in the 2016 election. And she is stepping down. Lots of rumors flying around out there. I don't know if you guys follow her husband, George Conway. He's angry. He's an angry person. Lots of to say never Trump, to classify him as never Trump, I just wouldn't. I think he's over like he's beyond never Trump. He's lots of hatred there, lots of anger, hatred. He's part of the Lincoln Project. I don't know if you guys follow this. They're saying they're Republicans that are against Trump. It's a whole little. It's basically the establishment. To clarify, it's the establishment trying to hold on to power. Now let's just, the establishment is both Republicans and Democrats. The establishment are people that are located inside the Beltway in DC that hold a lot of power. I mean, tons of power. They like things the way they are. They've gone to Washington. They've profited off of the American taxpayer. They've become wealthy. They've thrived. They're cozied up to big corporations. They love to be wined and dined by lobbyists. And they like things the way they are. They're not there to fix things or to clean things up or to get rid and cut waste, all that stuff. They like it. And so when Trump came in and he started saying this, no, cut this, do this differently, starting to clean out the swamp. They're like swamp creatures that are screaming out, wailing, no. And George Conway is one of those creatures. And so he's actively speaking out against the president, which has got to be interesting home dynamic. I couldn't imagine if my husband was avidly against the president while I'm speaking out against the president. I mean, there needs to be some kind of unity. That's got to be a very difficult situation. And Kellyanne's daughter recently announced, 15-year-old child, announced that she's seeking emancipation from her mom. Lots of people are saying, she's saying that she was abused and her parents don't love her and all this stuff. And I kind of went through her daughter's not her Twitter feed, but her Instagram feed. And I see a hurting kid, man. I see a kid that needs mom and dad. This was her first post a couple years ago. So for the people that are saying that, like that Kellyanne is abusive or George Conway is abusive or anything like that. This is something that Claudia posted about her mother on Mother's Day in 2018. Happy birthday, happy Mother's Day to my beautiful mom. I love you to the moon and back, and I aspire to be like you every day. So I don't think, I'm not going to meddle in their private life, but what I will say is this is a hurting kid. Like when you look at the rest of her feed, her comments on Twitter, she needs a parent. And I think sometimes, and this is just to address the moms and dads out there. I think sometimes we think like we need to be more. We need to, mom and dad isn't enough, but mom and dad is enough. I want you to know that our kids need us. And I think our society has put like the parental role as like a side job. It's not a side job. It is a full-time job, right? When I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. I have a child that needs mom. And for me not to be around or to be present or to be able to take care of those things, that eventually breaks down. There's a breakdown at some point. And so for the moms and dads out there, know that you are needed by your kids. Know that you are valued. You're an important role. I highly commend Kellyanne for realizing, hey, my daughter needs me, my kids need me, and stepping away from a very powerful position to attend to her family needs. And I want to thank her for her service to this country. So I think that needed to be said. So now let's talk about Joe Biden's speech, because people, okay, now I'm going to say this, I'm going to be completely real. Okay. I was surprised. I can admit that. I thought that Joe Biden was not going to be able to do a speech. I thought that, yeah, I really did. I mean, we have watched this man deteriorate over the course of the last few months. He has a hard time just using several sentences in a row without a giant gaffe. But not just gaffes. I mean, we're talking about, his friend Corn Pop, him talking about kids touching his legs when he's in the pool, telling people that they aren't Black if they don't vote Democrat, telling people that, he doesn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle, when it came to intermixing schools, him groping children, overly touching women, feeling their bodies, licking his wife's hand when she's giving a speech. There's a list, okay? There's a list. And so I was ready for, who's he gonna lick? Who's he gonna grab? What's he gonna say? Oh my gosh, this is happening. I mean, I think a lot of people were ready. And he did the speech, right? Nobody was touched or grabbed or groped during the speech. Nobody was licked or caressed. No children were brought on for him to smell. It was a smooth speech, and I was surprised. But you got to think about this, guys. If we're surprised that Joe Biden was able to complete a speech without several gaffes, that's how low the bar is. Like, just think about that for a second. It was like, oh my gosh, when he was able to go through a speech without any flubs, gaffes, racist comments. It was like, oh my gosh, like what an accomplishment for Joe. This is huge. This is monumental. And then I thought, wow, that's how low the bar is. Like, that's how low the bar is. And then I thought about him, like, trying to argue or debate or negotiate with like Xi Jinping, right? The communist dictator of China. Or like trying to talk Kim Jong-un down from the ledge from launching a nuclear missile into our world, or negotiating hard talk with Putin. To pick Biden, I mean, I don't know how someone could be like, Biden's our guy. definitely are. That terrifies me. That absolutely terrifies me to think that this guy could be negotiating with world dictators and crazies when, it's an accomplishment if he completes a speech without anything gross happening or racist things being said or giant gaffes being made. So congratulations, Democrats, on that. That's your pick. So Joe Biden's speech. Well done, Joe, for not completely messing it all up, because I'll give you that. You didn't this time around. So I really am excited and cannot wait for the debates. I would like to know in the comments if you think that Joe is actually going to debate the president. There's a lot of people saying that he's going to try to get out of it. There's no way he'll do it. And listen, if Joe's your candidate and he can't debate Trump, you should probably check on yourself picking him as your candidate. Like, if your guy can't debate, can't take some hard questions, should he be your guy? Also, I mentioned this on Twitter just now. It was just recently announced that Jerry Falwell, the president, is it the president, Rob? I think it's the president. He was the president of Liberty University, a strong Christian university, conservative university, has stepped down. He stepped down. I don't know if you guys have been following this. It's kind of dirty. Like, I read the whole article that broke yesterday about Jerry Falwell Jr. This guy, sorry, I'm moving too much. This guy, basically, okay, let's just break it down really quick. So Jerry Falwell Jr.'s wife fell in love. I don't know if I'd say love. Fell in lust with a pool boy. That's the pool boy there in the picture. And started sleeping with this guy and having an affair with him, supposedly while Jerry Falwell watched. Jerry Falwell is denying this. But he basically said that his wife did have an affair with this guy for several years. So this guy's Jerry Falwell saying that this guy is trying to extort him for money, whatever. I don't care about all that stuff. What I care about is Jerry Falwell and his wife. Okay. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're a Trump supporter. I don't care. I really don't care. If you're preaching Jesus and you're preaching righteousness and trying to lead people to Jesus while you're simultaneously sleeping and having an affair or doing drugs or whatever you're doing, no, not gonna have it. So not having it. I am so happy that this has been exposed. And you know what? Anybody else out there that's doing this stuff, it's coming to you. Just so you know, you will be exposed, because I've been praying for exposure, regardless of what side of the aisle it's on. I'm praying for exposure with what's all this sex trafficking stuff with children in Hollywood. I'm praying for exposure with the Durham report. I'm praying exposure for these pastors, these false pastors, these false priests, these false evangelists, whoever you are, that you're preaching one thing and in the darkness you're doing something else. That is what pissed Jesus off the most. Oh my gosh, that's when he fashioned the whip, okay? When he put that whip together with shards of glass and bone, and he walked into that temple and he started waving that thing because the Pharisees and the Sadducees had turned the house of God into a marketplace, and they were mocking Jesus. They were mocking the name of God. They were taking God's name in vain. That just fired Jesus up. And I'm telling you right now, if you're involved in anything like that, you need to step down now because this guys is what makes my job and other Christians' job out there harder. Okay. Because listen, I'm speaking from personal experience. Years ago, you probably heard about this, New Life Church in Colorado. I grew up going there as a kid. The pastor was Ted Haggard. Ended up he had an affair, a homosexual affair, was doing drugs at the same time. But anyways, you can look, it was a huge scandal. I mean, the guy was on Oprah. It was like, oh my gosh, made so much news, like just huge news. But he misled and took so many people with him, broke people's hearts. right? He broke people's hearts. And this is what makes me sad, because we have a lot of kids, we have college students going to Liberty University that will now question everything, because they looked up to this guy, and he was a fake. He was doing crap behind the scenes that was not right before God. And so that just, it makes me so mad. And and what I learned after going through that experience with Ted Haggard, when I was a kid, well, actually, I was older when the whole thing broke. Actually, at the time when the news broke, I was living in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. And, but it was still shocking to me. It was still like, what was he doing? What? And it makes you question a lot of your teaching. And this is my message on this. Put your hope in Jesus. Don't put it in man, because people will let you down. All right. At the end of the day, our hope, our foundation, our trust is in Jesus. Our eternity is in Jesus. Our hope is in Jesus. Our salvation is in Jesus. It's not in these leaders, in these evangelists. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on some of the people that I follow or I really looked up to during the whole COVID thing. Pastors that I was like, the church should be open during COVID, right? I mean, what would Jesus do? People are like, Jesus would wear a mask. That's just funny to me. Jesus would be laying his hands on anybody with COVID and speaking healing over their bodies. That's what Jesus would be doing, okay? But instead, we had pastors and priests shut their doors to the sick, to the hurting, to the needy. And and props to John MacArthur. I know that John Hicks, love my producer here, not John Hicks, Rob Hicks. Rob Hicks loves John MacArthur and listens to him. And there are other pastors out there. The church that I go to here in Colorado has kept their doors open and has been just ministering to the lost and needy in this time. But this has been an exposure, guys. This has been a whole eye-opening moment for everybody. And I think more exposure is coming. This thing with Jerry Falwell, I think there will be more pastors that there's a shaking taking place. And if you're not, I mean, it's happening. It's happening right now. There's a shaking taking place. And I think that the first thing that's going to be shook and shaken is the church, is the Christian community, because you can't be dragging a bunch of crap into the throne room of God. You can't. You got to be righteous and clean and holy before him. And these people that are living one life and doing something in their private life is detestable to God. He absolutely hates it, because it misleads baby Christians. It misleads people that were searching and then they were hurt. And so I'm glad. Get Jerry out of there. Get him out, and more. Expose everybody. I'm serious. It's just 2020. Let's just get it all out. Does anybody feel like that? Like, just, it's 2020. Like, let's just get it all out. So when we go into 2021, we're just like good. So that's how I feel. Like, let's just have at it. So that's my message for that, because a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, no, like, don't talk about Jerry. Like, he's on our side. No, I don't care. I don't care whose side you're on. I really don't. I don't care. So that's what I have to say about that. Where am I here? What was the next thing I was going to talk about? Because I changed it all up. What'd you say, Rob? Oh, yes. Oh, so back to Joe Biden's speech, because I did want to hit that really quick. One of the things that, like, a lot of the pundits were saying, they're like, Joe is promising this incredible change. He's talking about change. I'm really excited. All the celebrities that were on there, like, Joe will get the job done. Joe will do it. Joe's our man. Joe will finish. He'll get us through the finish line, guys. Joe will help us recover. It's all Joe. This is what I have to say about what Joe will do. So check it out.
Hi there. I'm a white liberal mom living in the suburbs, and I'm highly, highly educated. I also vote Democrat, and I'm here to encourage you to do the same. And yes, most of the crime, poverty, injustice you witness today is taking place in Democrat-run cities with Democrat mayors and Democrat city councils.
And you might be thinking, well, why would I keep voting Democrat? People who promise change and no change happens.
That's a great question. And I'm here to tell you that this time, we really do promise change. This time. I'm also here to encourage you to vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden has been an elected official for almost 50 years. That's a long time. Joe Biden was even vice president for 8 years. 8 years. This is delicious. And throughout all of Joe Biden's time in office, he has promised change. And this time, Joe means it. These kids are just precious. Joe Biden would love them. Now, I know it can be frustrating voting Democrat over and over again, hoping for change. But this time, we really do mean it. This time. And I think it was Albert Einstein that said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, Albert's an idiot. So for real change, vote Democrat this fall. Because this time, we mean it.
This time, guys, Joe's gonna get it done, okay? Guy had 47 years to get it done, and he didn't get it done, okay? Pelosi, Schumer, all of these people have been in office for like over 30 plus years at least, and they're still promising change for you. I can't even believe the people that actually believe somebody that's been promising something for 47 years and they haven't got it done. At that point, you would think maybe they're not telling me the truth. Maybe they're not going to get it done, okay? The economy under Joe Biden, terrible. Under Obama, terrible. Why would we want to give our economy that's just now starting to go back up V-shape over to the Obama, Joe Biden department, that wing over there? We had record low unemployment before this COVID thing hit. We had record low unemployment for the minorities of all races, Blacks, Hispanics, even women, Asian. I mean, Latino, every single race, record low unemployment. Okay, that did not happen under Obama. So why would you give this to Joe? And what does Joe know? Really? What does he know? A career politician is what you're looking at. A career politician. Okay, these guys go to Washington, they make a bunch of money, and they keep promising to do something for you, and they never deliver. Okay. In the meantime, Joe's son is hooking a $1.5 billion deal with China. Okay. I don't know how you can't look at that and think maybe Joe's not who he says he is. Guy is shady as anything. Okay. And he's probably forgot that he did a lot of this because I'm definitely sure his memory is going. But Hunter knows, Jill Biden knows, the Obamas know. And you're insane. It's the definition of insanity, okay? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is insanity. So if you're insane, vote for Joe. I'm not. Okay, I'm going to go with the businessman that was able to take $1 million and turn it into billions of dollars, that has deregulated, that has caused record low unemployment in our nation, that has caused businesses to thrive, tons of businesses to be created under this administration. We haven't had any war, okay? They said, oh my gosh, remember the war? There's going to be war. There's going to be wars everywhere. He's going to start a war with Putin. He's going to start a war with China. He's going to start a war with Iran. He's going to start a war with Kim Jong-un. It's just going to be what? No wars, okay? Now Google for me how many drones Obama dropped in the Middle East while he was president. Okay, how many drone drops of bombs did he drop using drones in the Middle East? Like, I don't even know the number. It's like, I think it was like 22,000 just in the last year. It's like of his presidency. But you don't know that if you watch mainstream media. Like, you don't know that. Okay. Finally, I'm almost finally. This has been really long. Am I going too long? Okay. I want to really quick hit on the RNC speeches. The Republican National Convention kicked off last night. Absolutely awesome. It was funny because I actually had to, I know you guys are going to be mad at me, but I watched CNN commentary because I was like, I want to see like what they say after, like in their wrap up, like how do they spin this for the people that I know? Because I've got friends and family that watch CNN, they believe CNN. So I was like, I want to hear what they're being told to believe. And CNN, like they really couldn't slam that much. But what they tried to do is talk about how Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina, was the only like minority like in the convention to really like kind of like he was the only like really moving speech. And of course they put him at the end because they wanted people to remember that like the Republican Party does have some minorities because they're not all races. Like that's what they wanted people to think. So they put Tim at the end, and he gave a good speech. Like like that was their commentary, and I'm like, how racist of them to not see other minorities. Like they only saw Tim Scott. We had Vernon Jones from Georgia, who was a Democrat for years, recently came out as a conservative, has been hated by the tolerant left. Okay, they're so tolerant. Phenomenal speech. Go back and watch Vernon Jones. Absolutely amazing. We had Herschel Walker. That speech was just blew your mind because he went into detail about having a friendship with Donald Trump for over 30 years. He watched Donald Trump raise his kids, always putting family first. Just a real true friendship that he has with Herschel. And Herschel's like, I'm actually offended, like as a black man, to think that you think I would be friends with a racist for 30 years. Like it's offensive. And that's what the left does. They just call Trump racist because like there's no documentation. There's no evidence of racism. He has Herschel Walker as like one of his best friends for 30 years, but let's not talk about that. Also, Nikki Haley, an Indian American, Kim Klacik from Baltimore, a Black American, Maximo Olivares, who I posted a video of him earlier, absolutely phenomenal. A Cuban American that came over, escaped from communism in Cuba, literally standing before the American people last night, pleading with us to realize what the Democrat Party has become. He says he completely recognizes what their talking points and what they're pushing for, and their policies directly coincide with communism. The communism and socialism that he witnessed under the Cuban Fidel Castro. Like that's like, he's like, please, like, hear me. Like he was teary-eyed. He was like pleading to America. Like, can you not see it? And so CNN obviously is inept at recognizing other races. They only report on what they want, which is funny to me because the people I know, they're like watching this and they believe CNN. Like they believe like, oh, Tim Scott was the only one there. Like, it's funny. It's funny to me. It's funny how uninformed these people are. And then they think they know what's going on. Like, watch the RNC convention and then you'll realize, and then watch the commentary that CNN presents. And it's like completely, it's just all literally, they're like eating lies. They're eating lies. And then they go around and like regurgitate it on to people that don't think like them. So, awesome. There's such a difference. There's just such a difference. It's so clear to me. It's so evident to me, the difference between the Democrat Party that's doom and gloom, like Trump brought COVID to America or something like that, which is like they're actually trying to blame the president for COVID. Okay, this came from China. Trump shut down travel from China while Chuck and Nancy were telling people to go party in Chinatown in San Francisco and calling President Trump xenophobic for shutting down flights from China. And the president took immediate action. And I'd like to ask you haters, because there's a bunch of you here. What did Trump do that was in defiance of the experts. Like the experts said, Trump, you got to do this. And he did it. Trump, you got to do this. And he did it. The experts, right? The experts, the people that deal with these diseases, they were advising the president through this whole thing. And there's not one thing the president did that was in defiance against the experts in this pandemic. Okay. Trump is not a doctor. So he was listening to the doctors. He's not a scientist. So he was listening to the scientists. So I'd like to ask you, what did Trump do that was in defiance of the advice of the experts? Because there wasn't. He completely adhered to them. So much so that even I was like, don't listen to the experts. Like I wouldn't have shut down the economy. I know that was, the Democrats love that. I mean, because they knew that was Trump's big weapon, was the economy and how beautiful it was. And he will rebuild it again. I'm telling you right now, you give him another 4 years and you're going to see it's going to be gorgeous. Okay. But the Democrats don't want that, right? They want the economy in crumbles. They want everyone like, oh, it's just terrible. Like that's what they're feeding on. That's what they're preying on. That's what they're hoping and pushing for. And that's the difference in the speeches. You have people in the Republican National Convention that were talking about how incredible America is and how it's the last place on earth. It's the last beacon of hope. It is the refuge for freedom and for individual liberty. We are the country that fights and believes in that. And the Democrats do not want individual liberty and freedom. And you can see that. You can see that in just the complete difference between these two parties. It's the party of force. We're going to force you to wear a mask. They'll probably force you to take the vaccine. They'll force until you're in full-blown communism world. And the Republicans, conservatives are freedom, fight for freedom, preserve freedom. So it's 2020. I've got 2020 vision. And I hope that you have 2020 vision. I hope that you can see it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you see that closing schools is political, that shutting down churches has been political, that this virus has been turned political, that using the post office has been turned political. It's all been turned political, all of it. And once you see that, it's like, oh my gosh. And that's what's so incredible, like, especially about the walkaway movement that I've been following, hearing like Vernon Jones' story, all these other people that speak about, like, they were Democrat, but then they saw it. Like once you see it, you see the agenda, you're like, oh my gosh. I literally just watched a guy that was a member of Black Lives Matter that said, I'm walking away from this movement. I became a Marxist in this movement. And I was contradicting everything I said I believed in. It's such clarity. And that's what 2020 is. It's been a hard year. We've dealt with so much instability, so much hatred, so much, it's been volatile. And through it all though, it's exposed. Right? It's brought to light so much. It's been brought to light the shady pastors that aren't opening their churches. It's brought to light the people like Jerry Falwell. Okay. It's brought to light the agenda at hand. Like, I think like for a long time we thought, oh, the Democrats, like it was baby steps towards like socialism and communism. But now it's like full blown, like, yeah, this is what we're doing. This is what we want. And I had somebody arguing with me earlier that's like, you're just saying communism. Like there's no proof that they want communism. You can go through the communist. I have it right here. It's from Willard Sconson, who read the communist takeover, the steps that you have to do as a communist to take over a country. And he read it into Congress in the 1950s. And literally, you can go through the steps that you have to take to turn a country that's free into a communist country. And they're doing it. Like the Democrat Party is full on doing it. Defund the police. Turn the family unit into like a community unit. Gain control of TV positions in media. Infiltrate the churches. Control the schools. Capture both of the political parties. That's the establishment that I hit on at the beginning of this whole thing. This is what they're like. Literally, there's like 40, I don't even know, like 40, 45, 50 steps. And the Democrat Party is actively activated and taken a stance on at least, like, I would say 30 of them. Okay. So they're inching their way to accomplish all this. It's so clear. It's so obvious. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So that's what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to say. That's it. So, I really quick want to give a shout out. Rob was contacted last week by a woman named Jennifer who runs an incredible organization out of Africa. And she wants to connect with us. She was watching last week's show. And so that really means a lot. I love it when I have people that watch the show and they're like, I want to connect with, this Rachel with speaking engagement, or using Rob Hicks with Hicks video, doing stuff like that. Like, it's awesome when I hear that you watch the show or you watched me on Tuesday and you're like, yeah, I watched you and I'd love to connect. And so it's pretty cool. A shout out to Jennifer. We look forward to working with you this next month. I'm thankful for you guys. I'm thankful for my supporters. I'm thankful for Rob. We're going to keep this fight up, guys. We're not surrendering. We're not going easy. No matter what happens in November, we will continue to speak up and speak out, because we love this country. We love freedom. We love individual liberty. And that's it. That's it. So thanks so much for watching. See you guys next week. Bye, guys.